Minerva, go ahead and do an introduction. Tell us who you are. Go right ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Minerva Diaz from McAllen, Texas, this time around. Texas went 100, not 100%, but it went red. However, just because we went red overall, there were in some border here in the border towns, the vote went for President Trump. But the normally that we watch and witness here is that the local race, most of the Republicans lost in the Democratic strongholds. The local races, most of the 99% went to Democrat candidates. So how can at the top of the ballot, the president wins, but the local candidates didn't win? So we're watching that. We're studying that phenomenon. It's an anomaly. And we really don't know yet how to address it fully because we're taking, the state is taking witnesses and statements. For one, I was a poll watcher for the board where they were counting ballots in in Edinburgh. Here in Texas, Edinburgh is the seat of Hidalgo County, and the so-called judge in charge, I was told, he was very, very mean to me. He did not allow the whole observation process as written in the rules to occur. If any poll watcher challenged him on it, he says, well, the rules say this. He will open his mouth even wider and not accept it, and very tyrant type. And there were no phones allowed, which is the rule. But sometimes, they would take you from one room to another. And I didn't want to leave my phone behind. So I don't know how many times I got in trouble for wanting my phone. Not that I was going to use it. Another thing that we observed is that this judge that was here, he was put in by the Democrats, because whoever wins the local control gets to say who gets to be the judge for the election. And in this case was the Democrat side, and it's been for a long, long time. But what I observed is that this particular individual was originated from Nigeria. So he's, I'm sure, a new citizen or something like that, and over to participate. I hope so, in the electoral process. But he had complete disdain for the rule of law, for the electoral law, and for the other people who were his opponents. And I thought that was very, very interesting. And I say, I wonder if you were allowed to take civic classes when you came into the nation or not. I don't know, and I don't really want to put a mark there necessarily, but it does raise an eyebrow, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. So the border towns, and this is historical. A lot of them went for President Trump, but like I said again, the local candidates did not. So let's see what happens with how the U.S. once I believe that all the evidence that was introduced today by former Mayor of New York, Rudy Giuliani, has a lot of tremendous weight. Evidence, hardcore evidence can be. I know that right now it's still at the appellate because the local courts, the appellate courts need to pass judgment on the evidence before it can be taken all the way up to the Supreme Court. My desire is that it does go all the way up to the Supreme Court, because if it does, and then what the Supreme Court rules will have much, much more weight. Although it's my attention, I know that the U.S. Supreme Court Judge Alito had made statements to prevent any unusual things happening regarding ballots, and they still, a lot of the places in some of the states and counties disregarded what Judge Alito has said, and went on with their own process and procedure and however they were going to do it. So then the other thing is the Dominion software, the Dominion
Right. Voting machines, right.
the machines, they were, from day one, they were rigged. The people were trained on how to rig it. And it was funded by dark money coming from Venezuela,
George Soros,
Cuba,
Bill Gates,
and China.
and the Clinton Foundation. Yeah, it was built and paid. It was built in China, but was paid and bought for by George Soros, Bill, the Clinton Foundation, and by Bill Gates. You talked about that.
Yes, he did. How strange. So what we have seen was the full, systematic, intentional, it seems, and full-blown electoral theft. And we knew that a lot of people knew, this was going to happen. So why weren't these issues brought before the U.S. Senate? Since the Senate, the majority of Republicans were there. So why wasn't this issue brought up and investigated by the Republican Senate? And that's what I want to know. So there's a lot still that we don't know. Some people say, why did the Republicans look the other way, or why some did, some didn't, and whether it was brought up in private, I do not know, but certainly we need to take a look even at some of our Republican senators.
Remember too, the guy who designed those machines, Antifa, Black Lives Matter. He's on social media. He's on Facebook. He's on Twitter. He has a YouTube page, a YouTube video on how to fraud the machines. Remember, he admitted this.
Yeah. So that is evidence. That is how can you not? You put it out there so chalant and so confident, like nothing's going to happen to me, and the videos are out there. We're going to have to. I believe that President Trump will prevail.
Yeah.
But I also believe that we're going to enter a season of incredible unrest as a result of justice winning. So we do have to prepare ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a lot of backlash by these sinister characters because they don't want to go to jail. This is all jail time,
prison time
offenses, federal jail time offenses.
Yep.
And they're not going to want to. They're not going to go willingly. They will not. So it's going to, and those people who back them up or who make covenants with them to back them up, we're going to start seeing ugly stuff in America. Maybe foreign interference, foreign hostilities. So embrace yourself. I said this before. Even before these developments, we have reached a time in America where we're back to the Civil War.
Yeah.
We've had our Revolutionary War, we have our Civil War, and this one seems to be a combination of both. The Revolutionary War was to get away from tyranny from England, remember? And religious liberty. So, again, the religious liberty is a factor now because they threatened to go after those who practice their faith. And look at what Governor Cuomo is doing right now with the Jewish sector, the Jewish quarter in New York. Mm-hmm. He's dispatched housing workers with binoculars to observe the Jews in their own homes to see how many people were there, whether they were practicing their faith, whether they were violating any codes. And he didn't do that to any other faith, not that we want to, but the Jewish sector is definitely being attacked in New York.
Right.
So our religious liberties are at stake here. It's not just, the voting factors, our liberty. It's all our liberties, actually. But like President Trump once said, it's not me they're after. They're after you. He was talking to the Christian crowd.
Yeah.
So we have to be smart, prayed up, ready, and hide in the presence of the Lord because right before these people are brought in for prosecution, they're going to fight it all the way.
Oh,
they're
yeah.
definitely going to fight this. So we have to be ready.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. So it's only, but give it a few more weeks, it'll calm down. Let's give. I don't know why the fake news, angry mob media is so anxious to have this election be done now. Why can't they give it? I mean, they've been attacking the president for 4 years now. 4 years on Russia, 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 and also with collusion of China, China, China. Now now it's coronavirus. I mean, give me a break. I mean, seriously, where does it say in the Constitution you have to wear a mask? You have to be locked down. Where does it say in the Constitution? It does not. And this is a violation of Section 230 of the fake news media. By the way, they are now perjuring themselves too as well because they're not their accountability because of they're not reporting any of these stories that we're talking about right now. They're not even doing that. So they perjurized themselves. They did perjury, by the way. So did the
Yes.
Bidens. So did Bidens.
Yes. Yes. Let's see how, like I said, they have each time they open their mouth or and say something or tweet something themselves or YouTube, they have perjured themselves. There's a lot of information out there, and it's time to pay the piper. But it's gonna be, like I said, we're gonna have to really, really pray and be alert, be watching.
Yep.
For our very own lives, even for our very own, like people like me and you who are out there. I took the night of the elections when people were cowarding and crying and, oh my God, the world's falling. I said, well, it's my fault, but we're going to fight back. So, I took to LinkedIn, I took to Twitter, I took to Facebook, and I said, no. We're not going to be silent. We will not be silent. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. So, unafraid, completely unafraid.
That's right.
Because I know that we were on the side of justice, and the side of justice always wins. Those who do what is right always win.
And remember, Minerva, remember these words. We are on the battlefield for our Lord. That's what we're on right now. We are on a battlefield for the truth, the way of Jesus Christ, of liberty and freedom here in America. That's what we're on. We are on our own battlefield for our own liberty, for love for Jesus, for love of God, for love of country, and in God we trust. That's what we're on a battlefield for.
That's right. And the foundations of this nation, I believe, I've heard this said this before, and when I studied it, I found it to be true. Pennsylvania was the state where the Declaration of Independence was signed.
That's right.
Was crafted and signed. So the fact that we return against, it might come down to Pennsylvania again, it's very, very prophetic and symbolic that this nation, our founding fathers, made a covenant with the Lord Jesus concerning America, that America will worship God, will worship Jesus. It will be a Christian nation. So, and for this to our heritage, our soul, our very soul and heritage they want to take it away. This has to tell you something, that the Quakers have never voted. They never voted in Pennsylvania, and they came out to say, this time we will vote for President Trump. We will vote, and we will vote for President Trump, and vote they did. So, for the whole Quakers to come out and vote for President Trump, that tells you that there was a lot of votes that are, like Giuliani said, where are these votes? They're missing, they're undercounted, they were hidden. I said it on Twitter. I said that the votes had been kidnapped, meaning that they were somewhere because the math wasn't adding up. And I said that that night on Twitter, the night of the election, that the votes had been kidnapped. I don't know why I used that word, but that was the word that came to my lips, and it has proven to be true. They took the votes that were for Trump and they hid them, and they did not release them. They were like kidnapped. Mm. So, they were held back, whatever terms you want to use, but the votes do represent somebody's wish, right? So, this is what can I say? The crime, a massive scale crime. We thought it was, we used to let Chicago get away with it. Some sectors in New York, and other places where we're in Nevada, some places, But now it's the sin. You see, this is what the problem with sin. If you don't challenge sin, it grows and it takes root, and it multiplies very, 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 very quickly. So we did not address. We knew that Chicago and other places were doing stealing for local elections, and we didn't say a word. We let them. So it became a way of life in the electoral process. Every 4 years they steal, but now it became so widespread because it's taken hold everywhere. These people want to win no matter what, and their wishes and their desires are not good for America. They're not good for us.
Right.
So,
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I hear you. Anyway, thank you so much for your time, Minerva. Thank you so. Is that right, Minerva? Is that how you spell it? Is that pronounced? Is that correct? Is that correct?
Yeah, don't worry about it. Minerva's good. It's good.
Minerva. All right, cool. That's cool. Thank you so much for your time. You gave us a lot more information about what's going on in Texas. Also, now with government. Oh, by the way, too, we're going to talk about this a little bit. This be very done very fast. As you know, with Governor Newsom in California, he's calling everybody a lockdown, but yet he goes out and have a party. I'm wondering if he's going to have a Thanksgiving party now too, as well. I'm wondering if he's going to do the same thing again. I wonder. I'm just wondering.
Well, there you go. The double standard. It's good for you, but not good for me. It's always the double standard. And that's hypocrisy. That's what they do. That's what rulers and tyrants do. They lack the moral standard to apply the discipline and the same laws to themselves. It's like Congress. Didn't Congress pass some laws that says these laws apply to everybody except Congress?
Yep.
Remember that?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Well, so it's the same hypocrisy and double standard and criminal element.
Yep.
So we need to continue to replace these people and try to get people who are morally correct, strong, who are not going to sell their souls for $1, and who's going to keep the tight ship, and who's going to keep America strong and right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. And where can people find you by? Where can people find you at?
Well, you can follow me on Twitter at Lionsgate Communications. You can find me on Parler at Dr. Minerva Diaz. LinkedIn, Dr. Minerva Diaz. Facebook, Dr. Minerva Diaz and Minerva Diaz. I have 2 pages, and pretty soon, I took down the website because the website was really not generating enough traffic. People don't go to websites anymore. Very, very rarely they do. They want apps and they want instant social media because where they are. So it's no longer profitable, in my opinion, to have a website. So plus the maintenance that it requires, and I say, well, I got to think of something else, a new technology perhaps that will, just like these live videos. You take a live video, you put it on Facebook, you put it on YouTube, and get going. Yep. So look me up, Dr. Minerva Diaz, and Lionsgate Communications. And I'm struggling just a little bit because I got to do the business side, I got to do the technological side, and then I got to do the content side. And I'm like, darn, and then I take care of my dad. And by the way, I got to go because he's in the hospital, so I got to get going here.
Oh, wow. All right. So, I'll pray for you, too. My hearts and prayers go out for you, Minerva. My hearts and prayers go out for you, so I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. He's 85 and a half. He's a brave young man. Yeah. So thank you so much for your time. Keep me in your prayers because my time of leadership is coming soon. And I just pray that I persevere and have a lot of courage. And that I would continue not to take money like when I ran for office before, they offered me money. And I said, take that money and go tell that box. So anyhow, I'm not one to take money, and I'm not one to back down. But in order to get to get going here, you got to have a backing. You got to have funds to launch a campaign.
Yeah.
So God bless you all, and I got to go.
Yeah, you are a lady of liberty. Remember that. You are a fighting lady of liberty. Never forget that. That regardless of what anybody tells you otherwise, you are a fighting lady of liberty. Thank you so much, Minerva. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.